Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network. And you can hear the podcast network from Boxing Along the Beltway on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio.com, Stitcher, as well as TuneIn. And you can subscribe to the pages there. They're all free, of course. And you can listen to some great Beltway Boxing content. The Beltway Boxing News and Notes podcast brought to you by Real-Time Pain Relief from Boxers to Ballerinas. For shoulder pain, the muscle strain, everything between, Boxing Along the Beltway recommends Real-Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, and effective ointment. You go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real-Time Pain Relief, you get a free $10 tube of Real-Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com, we have great weight loss tips. You can lose weight without dieting, eating real food along the way. She also has great jewelry on her site at Deborah, Debra Spears.com. This will be a relatively short podcast because I just want to give some more updates on a couple of bouts that are coming, a couple of cards are coming up in the Beltway region. One is going to be on Friday, January 25th. That'll be at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. And that's the Baltimore Boxing Amateur card, the Super Brawl Boxing. Once again, that's Friday, January 25th. That's tomorrow night as we record this. Great event scheduled to be there. Brian Hainslager is scheduled to be there. Deshaun Chase is scheduled to be on that card as well. So we don't know who their opponents are going to be, but it should be a great night. The first amateur Beltway card, big Beltway card, actually after the Silver Gloves. So this is the next one on the agenda there for the amateurs. But the pros, they have their first card once again. That's on Saturday, January 26th. And once again, it'll be at the Waldorf Culture Center. That's located at 109 Post Office Road in Waldorf, Maryland. This is the Cynation Sports King of the Ring card. And as we talked about last week, there are some great matchups. We have the majority of the card now for you. So we'll go over it in more detail this week. The main event is scheduled to be, I believe, the bout 6-round all Beltway super middleweight contest between the sexy Albanian Yank Plana of Hagerstown, Maryland. He'll take on Ashton the Goon Sykes of Hanover, Maryland. Plana is 2-0 with 1 KO. He'll face his third straight local boxer. All of his bouts so far have been against other Beltway boxers. Plana won a 6-round majority decision in his last outing. On the last Cynation card, he defeated Jason Bell on October 27th at Rosecroft Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland. And Plana made his pro debut against Dameron Kirby. That was in October 2017 at the Mayflower Hotel. That was that Alarm.com card. He scored a first-round TKO there. And, of course, as we talked about, Plana is trained, I should say, by DC Boxing Hall of Famer and 3-time world champion Simon Montekia Brown. Meanwhile, Sykes is 2-2. He comes off a tough 6-round TKO loss to Donald Wallace back on August 18th at Live Casino in Hanover, Maryland. That was the 2018 Beltway Boxing Bout of the Year. It was a tremendous bout, no question about that. Now, Plana will be the second straight Beltway opponent for Sykes. So both these guys have been doing a lot of their work in their own backyard, so to speak, against boxers from their own backyard. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Now, Sykes, we talked about last week, has some added incentive on this card. His older brother, Justin, will be on this show. He'll make his pro debut on this card. He'll take on Jonathan Burrs of Frederick, Maryland, in a 4-round super welterweight battle. Now, Sykes has very little amateur experience. I couldn't find much on him except he did participate in the Washington Golden Gloves in 2017. But I don't know a whole lot about Justin Sykes, in all honesty. So hopefully he'll be able to go up against Jonathan Burrs. And Burrs fought on that October 27th card at Rosecroft Raceway and won a 4-round unanimous decision against Brian Costello, and that evened his record at 1-1. So that should be an interesting bout, 4-round bout between Justin Sykes and Jonathan Burrs. Now, another 6-round contest, super middleweight contest, Filip Stankovic of Arlington, Virginia, by way of Serbia. He will take on Vaughn, the Animal Alexander of St. Louis, Missouri. And again, as we talked about last week, a lot of questions surrounding this particular bout because Stankovic is just 4-0. He's one KO. Last bout, he scored a first-round TKO over Keith Collins on December 15th. That was at Tyson's Playground in Vienna, Virginia. Stankovic is going to 6 rounds for the first time, faces his most accomplished foe when he takes on Alexander. Alexander's 12-2 with 8 KOs. Now, he's fought relatively decent people, but he's trying to break a 2-bout losing streak going into this bout. He lost a 8-round split decision to Yanibek Alimkhanuly back on November 3rd in El Paso, Texas. So, he's traveled. Alexander's traveled. He has faced more competition. I mean, that'd be better competition, but he's faced more competition than Stankovic. So that's an interesting bout there. 6-round super middleweight champion contest there. In a battle of tough under 500 competitors. This bout probably will be the bout of the night in many ways. But DC's Lamont White takes on St. Louis's Matt Murphy in a 6-round contest. Now, White is 1-16, 1 KO. But he last fought on December 15th. He lost a 4-round unanimous decision to Rashad Kilpatrick on that Tyson Playground card. White has never been knocked down, never been knocked out. And that'll be interesting against a guy like Matt Murphy, who is 3-30-4 with 2 KOs, coming off a 4-round majority draw against Antonio Magruder. That was on December 1st at the Cynation Sports Arena in Washington, D.C. So Murphy is capable of doing some interesting things. White is capable of doing some interesting things. It should be interesting to see what happens. And it'll be a 6-round contest. Lamont White taking on Matt Murphy. Now, the bout scheduled for 6 rounds in the heavyweight division. It'll be Jerry Slug Forrest of Newport News, Virginia. He'll take on Lamont Two Smooth Capers of Hawley, Pennsylvania. Forrest is 21-2, 17 KOs. He scored a first-round TKO over Edgar Perez. That was at Masonic Temple in Norfolk, Virginia, back on December the 8th. Now, again, Capers, 9-13-5 with 1 KO. He makes things very awkward for people who, on paper, you think would beat them. And he did it again in his last outing. He fought to a 6-round draw against Darnell Boone, another guy who not only makes things awkward, he beats people. And Capers has done it too, but Boone really beats people. He knocks out some folks even at his under 500 age, under 500 situation. He knocked out Phil Jackson Benson a few years back, just to name one. But Capers can make things very awkward. He's beaten Nick Kisner a couple of times. He beat Nick Kisner once, I should say. Had a tough bout with Travis Reeves, 2 tough bouts really, but made him look awkward, especially in the first bout between the two. So that could be interesting as well. It's a 6-round bout. Jerry Forrest taking on Lamont Capers. Other 4-round contest. Baltimore super lightweight Mac Papi Allison IV out of Baltimore, Maryland. He'll take on Darrell Harris of Sarasota, Florida. And Allison is 8-2-1, 7 KOs. Let's try again. 8-2-1, 7 KOs. But he is 1-2-1 in his last 4 contests. And that includes the 6-round unanimous decision loss to Greg Outlaw back on December 8th in Bowie, Maryland at the A.C. Jordan Arena, Bowie State University. Harris is 1-8-1. He's 0-8-1 his last 9 contests. He won his pro debut, but has lost everything else since then. Coming off a 4-round unanimous decision loss to Yamil Ortiz back on November 17th in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So this bout is kind of a step back for Papi Allison, kind of recalibrate a little bit, try to get himself back together. And so this one on paper right now doesn't look like a hard outing for Allison. You never know. But again, after losing to an undefeated Greg Outlaw in a bout that, from what I heard, he did not look very good in that bout. Juan Marshall was there, and he said that Outlaw pretty much dominated that bout against Allison. So Allison could use a big win in this bout. He could get it this coming Saturday. And on the card, Baltimore female super lightweight Destiny Day Owens make her pro debut. She'll take on the equally debuting Michelle Nogue of Chesapeake, Virginia. Now, Day Owens, again, made her mark on numerous amateur cards in the Beltway. She was scheduled to fight in the Golden Gloves, compete in the Golden Gloves, but never could find an opponent for her, so she always had to walk over. So that's tough there. Now, Nogue, meanwhile, is a member of the United States Coast Guard, and I'm hoping that she is not totally affected by this government shutdown that we're under right now at this situation, so we'll see. But that's a 4-round bout, Destiny Day Owens and Michelle Nogue on this card. Also looking for bouts for Jamal Dyer, although Jamal Dyer is scheduled to compete in Norfolk next month. So no guarantee he'll get a bout on this particular card. We do know Nigel Fennell will not be on this card. He'll be on the show in Norfolk, Virginia, the Masonic Temple on, I believe it's February the 8th for that show. So that's the card there. The card is scheduled to begin at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And because of that, and a couple other things that are going on, yours truly will not be at this card. I was scheduled to be the ring announcer for this card originally when they had it scheduled for the Patapsco Arena in Baltimore. As I said last week, I'll be at Coppin State University doing a doubleheader basketball game as their public address announcer. Now I was going to just swing over to the Patapsco Arena and get ready for the show. However, when they moved the card over to Waldorf at the Waldorf Culture Center, it was just too much of a burden for me. So I opted out of not doing the ring announcing for the show, and I opted out of not going at all, primarily because January 26th just happened to be my wife's birthday. So even though I have to work the Coppin State game, but the rest of the evening belongs to my wife and her birthday. So that's where I'll be. So Juan Marshall, ProAmFightTalk.blogspot.com. He'll have all the coverage for he'll be live blogging throughout the night. So make sure you go to ProAmFightTalk.blogspot.com. Get all the information about the card coming up this coming Saturday, January 26th, from the Waldorf Culture Center in Waldorf, Maryland. Now, we talked last week about the card that's taking place at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York on Saturday, January 26th. That's the card that features Keith Thurman defending his WBA welterweight title against Josefina Lopez. Now, we told you last week that the Russell brothers, Antonio and Antoine, were going to be in that card, but they've added 2 more Beltway boxers onto this card. So they'll be competing on this card, on the undercard portion of the card. Landover, Maryland welterweight Tariq I Get Busy Irby, IGB Irby. He'll be in a 4-round bout against Jonathan Figueroa of Hartford, Connecticut. Irby is 5-0 with 2 KOs, coming off a 4-round unanimous decision over Lamont White, the second time he's beaten White. That was on September 22nd at the A.C. Jordan Arena in Bowie, Maryland. Figueroa is 2-1 with 1 KO, looks to bounce back from suffering his first pro loss, and that was a 4-round unanimous decision to Miguel Ortiz in Lincoln, Rhode Island back in April of 2017. So Figueroa has not fought in a while, and that could be interesting against a guy like Irby who has good skills. Again, he's fought White twice. That took away some of the opportunities for knockouts for him. But he has some good skills, so that could be tough for Figueroa going into this bout. So Tariq Irby taking on Jonathan Figueroa. That bout scheduled for 4 rounds. Also on the card, Clarksburg, Maryland middleweight Mark Salas Duncan. He'll make his second straight visit to Barclays Center, and he'll be in a 4-round encounter against Daniel Garcia Flores of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Duncan is 2-0 with 2 KOs. He scored a first-round TKO over Ray Cervera on December 22nd at the Barclays Center, as we said. Garcia Flores is 0-2. He dropped the 4-round unanimous decision to Emmanuel Guajardo. That was on November 17th in Tucson, Arizona. So once again, 4 Beltway boxers on the Thurman Lopez card. That'll be at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York on Saturday, January 26th. You've got the Russell brothers, Antonio and Antoine, as well as Mark Duncan and Tariq Irby, all on that card. Wish them all well, of course. So that's pretty much the update as far as January 26th. And of course, next week we'll give a full February schedule. And there's nothing as far as we know other than the start of the Washington Golden Gloves will be around that time. That'll take place in the Beltway, but as far as pros concerned, it's going to be kind of big, concerning we have Gervonta Davis defending his title against his WBA super featherweight title against Abner Mares, and we just learned that Lorenzo Truck Simpson will be on that card. That'll be coming up at what used to be the StubHub Center in Carson, California. I forget what the name of it is now, but we'll tell you next week. Also, Dominic Wade makes his return on February the 1st. And on February the 15th, Michael the Professor Fox will be on his card, his big Showtime main event coming up on February the 15th. So we'll talk more about that next week. Now, as far as events coming up, another event coming up, and this is going to be in the media, and we really want you to be involved with this, and hopefully either buy the magazine article or look at it online, because the article is online. And for the past almost a year now, a writer by the name of Britt Peterson has been has been following the recent exploits of Tori Nelson. Now, Tori Nelson, as you know by now, 11-time 4-division world champion. She's been a 2-time Beltway Boxer of the Year, and she's just been an incredible personality and incredible competitor in the Beltway. And Britt Peterson, who's a freelance writer, followed her for this article that will appear in this Sunday's Washington Post magazine. I believe it's going to be a cover story. I think. I'm not sure, but I know it's going to be in the magazine this coming Sunday. The article is online right now, and it's basically called "This 42-year-old boxer has a job at IHOP, 2 kids, and 11 titles. She isn't finished yet." And it's a great title, and the article is fantastic. I have to say that I'm quoted very briefly in this article, but that's not the reason why I love it. The article is just fantastic. And not only that, Britt brought out some information about Tori that I didn't even know. And I won't tell you basically what it was. Well, I will tell you one thing. And I should have known this, but I just didn't. But the article explains how she got the nickname Show Enough. I'm not going to tell you how it happened. You have to read the article to get that. But please get it on the newsstands when it comes out this weekend, or go on to the line. Actually, I have the link posted on my blog, boxonthebeltway.blogspot.com. But please take a look at it. It's a fantastic article, and it really gives a great, I won't say expose, but a great following of what Tori Nelson has been all about and what her plans for the future are. So please make sure you look at the article written by Britt Peterson, and she just did a wonderful job with it. She really, truly did. So make sure you get a hold of that this weekend. Well, that will do it for another edition, a very short edition of Beltway Boxing News and Notes. Remember, the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network brings you Beltway Boxing News and Notes, and is also sponsored by Real Time Pain Relief. You go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. Also by DeborahSpears.com, we have great jewelry, great weight loss tips on Deborah, Debra Spears.com. And don't forget to purchase items on the Best Buy and Amazon links that are on my blog, boxonthebeltway.blogspot.com. Make sure you do that, and that'll help us out a little bit as well. And don't forget, you can always find me on Twitter at Digital25. Thanks for joining, everybody. I'm Gary Digital Williams. Thanks you always for supporting Beltway Boxing and supporting boxing along the Beltway. We hope to talk to you next week. Until then, thanks for joining us, and always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the boxing along the Beltway. Thanks for listening. Take care.